And it turns out my prediction was right. Hey there, guys. This is Flamsaron, aka YouTube's Tasuke, and E3's more or less kicked off. This is probably going to go up um, maybe Monday or Tuesday. I'm not really sure. I'm recording it on Sunday, but I'm probably going to upload it on Monday or Tuesday, where like the actual like big part of E3 will really. I think the public days of E3 will kind of start, but it was recently announced that we are getting Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. It actually is happening. We're basically getting that HD remaster. Not basically, we are. It's coming this winter for PS4, Xbox One, Steam, and Nintendo Switch. This must be. I guess this was that Tales game for the Switch that they were talking about, unless they're going to announce something at Tales Festival, which is like the weekend after fucking E3. I don't even think that's ever happened before where they've lined up like that. Um, this was one of the first E3 things I saw, besides Sekiro, which I'll get to later on. But and just to kind of, I mean, obviously at this point they had cleared up the air about whether or not this was coming to PS4 and whatnot. And I know like for a while there was some sort of confusion about that since they showed it during Microsoft's press conference. In fact, they said like coming to the Xbox Store, which made it sound like, oh, this is going to be a digital thing only, which that would have really rustled my jimmies if they went that route. But nope, it's coming to PS4 as well, which is good because that's probably going to be the version I'm going to get. I'd only the only other version I'd probably get it for would be the Switch version. That's only if like there's some like bonus, like you get like extra costumes and like an amiibo or something. Which brings me to one of the things I'm kind of not really concerned, but I am kind of wondering about it. They did confirm that it is going to be the PS3 version, so we are getting that content, and it's going to be dual audio. So they're going to dub. I assume they're probably going to dub anything that they haven't done. In this situation, they probably will have to dub the skits because unlike in Symphonia, where in English they weren't voiced at all, so like it didn't really matter too much to do anything fancy with the skits, even though it would have been nice. In Vesperia, they were dubbed in English, so I think dubbing the new skits from the PS3 version is going to be probably a good idea. I suppose they might not. I feel like with this one, since this game had like a huge budget for a Tales game, they probably should go the extra mile. And I should note it's also coming out in Japan as Tales of Vesperia Remaster. We're getting as the definitive edition, but from what we've seen, it looks pretty good. This was the first Tales game to be in HD. But even with that said, it was in HD, so like there's only so much they can really do with it. It wasn't like a Symphonia where like you were taking a standard resolution game and making it HD. Like here, it's like they're just kind of upscaling it a little bit. And the translations so far seem interesting. Yuri's Second Mystic Art, I think they're translating as Heavenly Blade Wing, which is kind of interesting. I don't really know what they're going from that. I think a lot of people assumed it was going to be called Brilliant Phoenix because of the cut voiceovers that were in the game, since the English and Japanese versions of the game were developed really close to each other. So a lot of the cut content that was going to be, or my assumption would be that a lot of the cut content that was cut for the 360 version but added to the PS3 version was likely dubbed. We already know that Rita's Indignation was dubbed, so they're probably going to throw that in. Yeah, they kind of showed off, Flynn being playable and all that stuff. So, and they showed Patty as well. It'll be interesting to see who voices her. I wouldn't be surprised if they just pull someone from Funimation to do it, because it seems like the Tales series and Funimation get along so friggin' well. So I can maybe see that. Of course, I could be wrong. I think in the Japanese version she's voiced by Chiwa Saito, so it'll be interesting. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually kind of glad. I know a lot of fanboys were really begging and clamoring Namco to bring over the PS3 version. I've seen a few memes of like on Twitter. It's all like, for those asking for localization, on the Tales games, we hear you. And then someone's like, Vesperia on PS3. Like, yeah, not that one. And I've seen like some. I think they're edits, to be perfectly honest. I think they're edits because some of them are a little like there's one making fun of the whole Avengers thing. Like, I don't feel so good. And then like one of like the guy like the only one that I think might be real would be the guy coming back and being like, yeah, that one. But like all the others, I don't think are. I don't know. Even the ones where it's like the two Namco Twitters kind of going at each other, like those might be real, but I don't know. I don't know. Some of them seem kind of like I don't know. I think a lot of it's just the meme, but at least besides the PS2 version of Symphonia, which of course we got that as well in Chronicles. Vesperia PS3 seemed to be like almost like the Sonic Adventure 3 in a way. But to kind of get back to my point, because I've been really rambly in this video, it's not even that late. It's like 12:40 or 12:39, I guess I should say, because I usually like to be precise with my times. But one thing I'm kind of wondering is how they're going to handle the DLC that they did for the PS3 version, because the PS3 version of Vesperia was like one of the first ones where they did like costume DLC. So I'm wondering if they're going to have it to where it's unlockable in the game, or like the grade shop, like Stan on the podcast talked about when we were talking about like the rumor of this, because this was sort of like for a little bit there was a rumor that they were going to announce it with like that password protected website. This wasn't like the Symphonia thing where they basically started their own rumor just to build up hype, but yeah, this was definitely and of course in my the State of the Tales series video, I was talking about the possibilities of this, which are now true, so haha. I think most people probably assumed it was either going to be this or something involving Legenda, which again, Tales Festival is still, right around the corner, so as far as we know, they could announce something else, though I imagine they may just show this version, maybe the Japanese version. There's already a Japanese trailer that plays a lot of the Japanese voiceovers and shows them doing stuff. It even shows gameplay footage as well. But yeah, so that's one thing I'm kind of wondering with the costumes, how they're going to handle that. Honestly, I would be okay if they just made it DLC. Like, it wouldn't bother me, to be honest, because for one thing, in North America, we didn't get we didn't get those DLCs because obviously the PS3 version didn't come out. So I know a lot of people wouldn't like having to pay for the DLC, but it's like, it's not like you had to pay for it already unless you were hardcore enough to friggin' get the PS3 version, which I did, and then go on PlayAsia and get a Japanese PSN card, which I did, and buy some of the DLC there, which I did. So, yeah, for some of it, it's going to be a repurchase. I really only bought Estelle's school uniform one, and then I bought Flynn's Luke one because I like that it gives him red hair. So I would not really be against them just putting it up on the PSN store. Like, I don't know. I don't really want to lose the that DLC. I feel like that's kind of crummy. And this is just kind of wishful thinking, but I remember like just how rigid, the what do you call it, access points of some of the side quests to get stuff, which is so slim. So I really kind of hope they're not going to do this, but I would hope that they maybe tighten that up or like loosen that up a little bit, because I remember like there would be stuff I'd miss out on just on the grounds that like I didn't get there, and that's actually something I really didn't like about Vesperia. Like, if you didn't like know ahead of time, you would miss out on a lot of stuff. So I guess that's one thing I'm going to kind of try to do with this version, because obviously I'm going to get it, and I'm going to try to play through it, because now I don't really have to play the PS3 version anymore. I'm still going to keep it, but like kind of like with Symphonia Chronicles, I'm going to kind of treat this remaster as sort of like my playthrough of the PS2 version of Symphonia, or in this case the PS3 version of Vesperia. So I'm going to try to kind of, this will probably be the one I end up playing the most, like for replay value and whatnot. But I'm going to try to like do things a little better. I apparently sold Estelle's Mystic Art weapon, because, you have to use certain weapons to unlock certain things, and then you have to use it a bunch of times to memorize the fucking skill to your character and shit. I'm gonna try to get all the different costumes and stuff. So I want to get the Schwan costume for Raven as well. I think that'd be pretty cool. And speaking of costumes, another thing that I think is going to be kind of tricky is handling the DLC costumes that you could get from the movie, because they did that in Japan. I think it was like a pre-order thing, or there was a code in the on the disc or something that allowed you to interact with the two female knights that were in the movie, which have been dubbed. So Funimation could pull from, or rather Namco could pull those two actresses to dub anything, if they even have any dub lines or voiceover lines. But like you'd get a cutscene with them or something, or they would show up, and then you would get the knight uniform costumes for Yuri and Flynn that they wore in the movie, which I actually think that those look pretty cool. Like if not the Luke costume for Flynn, I'm probably gonna give him, I would probably give him like that costume from the movie. So I'll probably alternate if I really feel like it, or I'll just keep him in his regular costume. And I think they're gonna give you his military uniform that he wears for like half the game or something. But like Symphonia Chronicles, I'll probably play it with the Japanese voiceovers mostly. I might play the entire game in English since the skits will be dubbed. That's really the only reason why I play Symphonia Chronicles in Japanese, just so I can have the skits voiced. And I might, plus I want to hear like what Patty sounds, and I'm gonna want to hear like any extra dubbed lines to hear if like they sound any different. I imagine they'll probably try to do a better job with any re-recording that they'll have to do, because with Symphonia Chronicles, the lines were really quiet. Like not even just the fact that some of them sound a little different, which wasn't really that big a deal, especially considering this like it'd been like 10 years. Some of these actors have been playing like another character for like so long, so of course they're gonna sound like that other character. It's been a while. I think it's mainly just the volume. Like that's kind of my just my whole shtick. But yeah, that's really my only concern. Just how they're gonna handle the DLC costumes and all that. Again, I'm not really gonna complain if they're if you have to buy them off of the PSN store or whatever. It's just like, because from our perspectives as Western fans, we never actually got that DLC, so it's not. You can't really argue the whole like, oh, we're having to pay for DLC that we already got when we didn't have to get it to begin with. Even if there are a handful of fans who actually got all the DLC, or some of it, like I did. I didn't get all of it. I only got some. But another thing that's kind of bothering me a little bit is the font and the game text. Like it doesn't look really good. Like it almost looks like fucking, like not Times New Roman, but like Arial or something. Like it just looks like, or Calibri or whatever, like like a basic like WordPad font. So I kind of hope they touch that up a little bit and maybe stylize it a little bit more, so the game will look a little more professional. But I'm pumped. It's gonna be friggin' awesome, I think, because I like getting the extra content from the re-releases of Tales games. Now I know this will make a lot of, like I said, a lot of fanboys happy, and it's come to Steam as well, so you can just add that to another PC Tales game you can play. And I imagine people will mod the game. That'd be cool if like they mod it to where you play as Kratos. That'd be funny. I would actually probably get the PC version as well, just for that. Be like, I just want to play as Kratos just for a little bit. Add in like, or one thing that'd be kind of funny is like if they take the Symphonia Chronicles model of Kratos and then put it in place of his model from like swap the models. I think that'd be kind of funny, or just swap out the characters or something. I don't know. We'll have to. It'll be interesting to see kind of what I imagine. Even though it's a remaster, like the specs of the PC version won't be that heavy, I'm guessing. But Yeah, I'm pumped. This game's gonna be pretty cool. I think I'm happy to get the PS3 content in English. I know there's that fan translation, but now we've got this, so it's gonna be pretty cool. I'll definitely pick it up probably on PS4 again, unless like there's some reason to get the Switch version, like an amiibo or something. I'm gonna wait and see if they do a collector's edition or special edition before I jump on it and buy it. Um, but we'll just have to see. Alrighty then. On to more E3 stuff. This is Flames Around, aka Tasuke signing out. See you later.